Time for business now. Kate Moody joins us. The US president is turning his eye to a brewing trade dispute with the European Union.
Yes, having already sealed that phase one trade deal with China in January, Donald Trump now says his administration will be tackling stalled talks with Brussels. A top economic advisor to the White House has also indicated negotiations with the EU could be prioritized over talks on a new trade relationship with post-Brexit Britain. The Trump administration has threatened to impose tariffs on European cars if it doesn't agree to better terms. Washington has also imposed tariffs on goods including French wine and Italian cheese in a separate dispute over subsidies, and has threatened still more tariffs on French luxury products over a plan to tax digital giants. Now, President Trump says very serious talks with EU officials are in the pipeline.
Over the last 10, 12 years, there's been a tremendous deficit with Europe. They have barriers that are incredible. I didn't want to do them while we were doing China, Japan, South Korea. I didn't want to do the whole world at one time.
Meanwhile, the White House has submitted its spending proposals for the 2021 fiscal year. The $4.8 trillion budget blueprint outlines a very slight increase in military spending and a 5% cut in non-defense spending. That would include the Departments of Housing and Education. NASA would receive more funding, while the Environmental Protection Agency would see its federal budget slashed. There's also a request for $2 billion for the wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. The proposal would cut $4.4 trillion in spending over the next decade, the bulk of it from social welfare programs. The Democrat-controlled House of Representatives is unlikely to approve the budget, but it serves as a blueprint for the president's fiscal talking points as he pushes his re-election bid. The U.S. Justice Department has charged 4 Chinese nationals with involvement in the hacking of credit rating firm Equifax, which affected nearly half the U.S. population back in 2017. Luke Schrago has the story.
It took 2 years of investigation, but the US Justice Department has finally revealed who was behind one of the largest data breaches in history.
I'm here to announce the indictment of Chinese military hackers, specifically 4 members of the Chinese People's Liberation Army, for breaking into the computer systems of the credit reporting agency Equifax. The hackers obtained the names, birth dates, and social security numbers of nearly 150 million Americans.
Them and more besides. Around 1 million British and Canadian citizens also had their information swept up in the hack 3 years ago. It led Equifax to make a $700 million settlement last year with affected consumers after it transpired it had failed to fix a known security issue the hackers exploited to gain access. The firm harbors huge amounts of consumer data it sells to businesses seeking to verify identities or assess creditworthiness. US authorities traced the hack through dozens of servers in 20 countries back to China. And while the US won't be able to arrest those indicted, for authorities, it serves as a warning.
Confronting this threat effectively does not mean we should not do business with China. What it does mean is that when China violates our criminal laws and international norms, we will not tolerate it, and we will hold them accountable for it.
The US has blamed several previous hacks on China, including one in 2015 on the US Office of Personnel Management that led to fears of Beijing using the information to unmask undercover US spies.
Let's check in on the day's trading action now. The Nasdaq and S&P 500 have both closed at new record highs, led by Amazon shares, which closed up 2.6%. Wall Street broadly shrugging off the concerns about the spread of the coronavirus and the possible impact on U.S. companies. The major European indices closed lower. German carmaker Daimler was up about half a percentage point on a report it's planning 15,000 job cuts as part of a cost-cutting scheme. Well, some major brands have said they won't be attending one of the tech industry's biggest events because of concerns over the coronavirus. Amazon is withdrawing its exhibition from the Mobile World Conference, which is set to take place in Barcelona from February 24th. Sony will replace its stand with an internet news conference to present its new products. Sweden's Ericsson, South Korea's LG, and the American chipmaker NVIDIA have also canceled their appearances. They all say they're trying to avoid exposing their employees to the virus by limiting their international travel. Chinese groups ZTE and Huawei still plan to attend for now. But Mark, this is just the latest slew of cancellations for these kinds of events. We've seen a similar thing happening at the Singapore Air Show this week. A lot of big companies pulling out as the coronavirus spreads. It's fair to say we're going to see this kind of trend continuing.
Indeed, and obviously on that issue, of charting all developments that we find on that virus and the measures being taken to control it. Kate, as ever, for the business, thank you very much indeed. Great to see you.